Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Fantasy Alarm live feed. I'm Brandon Marianne Lee. I am here with the Howard Bender. Hello, Howard. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Brandon. I'm super psyched for week 4. I've been sitting here all week just with my head in the numbers and in the matchups and in the injury reports, and I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We got a lot of stuff going on today. First thing is that Dalvin Cook will be active today against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions. We are live on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on Periscope/Twitter, also on fantasyalarm.com. So go ahead, ask your questions. I'll try to get to every single one of them because that's what we do. We got Jay and David and Philip that have already given us hellos and thumbs up. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. So let's just talk about Dalvin Cook because that is of the now. What do we do with him? In the pre-show, you said you're starting him some places, not other places. Talk us through your decision making.
It's basically if I have a viable option, and I mean just like a legit running back, not somebody who I'm worried about sharing the role. Like if you're talking about, am I starting Sony Michel over Dalvin Cook? No, I'm gonna give Dalvin Cook the benefit of the doubt there. Am I starting Derrick Henry over Dalvin Cook? No, I'm not. But as far as other options go, as far as like your Jordan Howards or just anybody who owns the backfield, or at least the majority of touches in their backfield, I'm going with them just to make sure. And I'm going to give Dalvin Cook, an extra week on some of the team, an extra week to sit on the bench, just on some teams that I don't have the proper depth or have been dealing with injuries.
Yeah, and speaking of the Patriots running backs, I've been actually writing and talking about them a lot this week. Rex Burkhead only played in 15% of the team's offensive snaps last week. Sony Michel played in a lot more, but he did almost nothing with his touches. And to me, this is a great matchup for them. The best matchup against the Dolphins, frankly, out of everybody else. I think the only person, though, that you can trust is James White. And that's hard for me to say because normally he's just a postseason guy. Listen, all your postseason DFS, James White. James White. Trust me, it's beautiful. But it seems like he's the only person getting anything done on this offense. How do you feel, Howard? Because it does feel like we need to look at this matchup.
I actually do like Sony Michel. I actually do. I like James White as well. I think the two of them will split the workload. I mean, the what I liked about Sony Michel, and I'll tell you this, the reason he got so many snaps last week after Burkhead, was completely lost and we weren't worried about Rex Burkhead. I'm sorry he's on IR now and he's donezo. But when you look at what Sony Michel, the reason he was on the field was because his pass blocking is actually really good. His pass catching could use a little bit of work, I'm not going to lie. But they do like his pass blocking, which kind of makes me feel like he can get that even shift with James White, and it helps the Patriots because now all of a sudden you're not telegraphing the move. Like James White's on the field. He's not going between the tackles. He's going to catch a pass. Sony Michel's on the field. Oh, it's a run play here. So the fact that they're going to be able to mix it up, I do kind of like this, and I see a 50-50 split. I've got a little Sony Michel and some GPP lineups. I'm already looking at it.
Yeah. I think that, it's one of those things where I want to believe. I'm just also, I need to see it, but it has to make sense, right? Like they have to use Sony Michel. It feels like this is a forced thing, but is he going to be productive? I just have not seen that yet. We've not seen him actually -1 receiving yards last week. I just
don't think he's
more worried about the Patriots than other people. And I know that everyone's making fun of people that are worried about the Patriots because they always come through, and they will, and they'll go to the playoffs. I'm not a moron. But from fantasy perspective, last season, Tom Brady was not a good fantasy quarterback. He was the 18th fantasy quarterback for the end of the season. Typically, he starts off hot. Right? Typically, it's the end of the season where he's not playing well. Well, if that is the case now, like how low is it going to go? Because right now he's the 18th highest scoring quarterback in fantasy right now. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying obviously that like, oh, the dynasty's done. Like I'm not an alarmist here, but I do think that acting like nothing is happening is also a mistake. And the Dolphins are surprisingly good. I'm surprised as much as anyone else. But certainly they're playing good football. So this is going to be a very interesting game. Let's start here with Kev Lyles here. Do I risk Cook as my RB2 or roll with Giovanni Bernard? Gurley is my RB1.
I believe the status of Bernard was that he was limited in practice again today. So if Bernard is going to be, I think Bernard's going to be good to go for this week. He's got a thigh injury here, limited participant in practice on Thursday, versus Dalvin Cook, who they're bringing back, to face a Rams tough run defense. Like the fact that Marcus Peters is going to be playing boosts the secondary a little bit, and it kind of takes some of the pressure off the linebackers and safeties who might have to fall into some coverage there. So Cook going up against, but it's their run defense that's fine, that's sound. You got Ndamukong Suh, you've got Aaron Donald. So Cook going up against them versus Gio Bernard, who's got a really, really soft matchup here against Atlanta. Atlanta's given up a lot of yards to running back pass plays. They're giving up a lot of just rushing yards in general. I think they've also allowed like 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns on the season. So I'll take Bernard in this matchup here because I think his thigh is going to be fine. I think Joe Mixon will probably, could end up sitting out again this week.
Yeah, and the Rams, typically we think of them as a softer matchup for the running backs, which is kind of still true-ish because they're a terrible matchup for wide receivers. But it's actually the tight end who has the best matchup for the Vikings against the Los Angeles Rams. So there's a possibility that we have a big Kyle Rudolph day. So if you're playing Thursday Night DFS, or if you have Kyle Rudolph, certainly you're playing him anyway because tight ends are tragic and you would never dream of sitting Kyle Rudolph. But in my opinion, I think that's kind of the guy that I'm most interested in. And certainly, for the game tonight, let's just hit on this real quick. We got to see something from these Vikings. Now, in the pre-show, you and I were like kind of chatting about how amazing Adam Thielen has been. And you guys, really, you guys, always 100 yards. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty amazing. So we know that. But, man, that performance versus the Bills, it was like they were haunted. What are they going to do now?
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, the Vikings are a crazy talented team. They are. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins, whatever. Dalvin Cook, even. We saw Latavius Murray be solid. They completely took the Buffalo Bills for granted. Maybe they just spent the entire night with hookers and blow. Whatever the case may be, they did not take this game seriously. It was a joke to them. And they treated it like a joke, and they got burnt. And that is really, what it came down to, in my opinion. I look at this matchup against the Rams. I see a banged-up secondary for the Rams. I see Kirk Cousins not wanting to embarrass himself. He's already been torched by the media for that performance against Buffalo. And I think that these guys really have that chip on their shoulder to show that, we are contenders, that we fucked up. I'm not going to, I can't say it any other way, but that's got to be the Vikings mentality. We fucked up. We didn't take the Bills seriously. We got to come back, and we got to really fight this out because this could be a preview of the NFC Championship this year. Vikings, Rams, absolutely.
I agree with you. I was obviously with everyone else shocked. By the way, I have a girlfriend who won $2,300 because her survivor pool is already done, and she's the only person who didn't pick the Vikings that week.
Oh my God! Can I tell you? I've got a survivor pool that's $10K to the winner, and I am one of 9 people left. 9 in week 4.
She's done. She sent out an email to everyone, was like, "Do you guys want to do it again? Because it's only week 4." And people were like, "Are you kidding me? You just won $2,300. You can't email us and ask us to do it again." Well, yeah, because it's that crazy of a season. Sure. Maybe we should do it again. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll go in with you, sure." But yeah, I just wow. It's been a crazy year, and man, did that game just encapsulate the insanity.
It was that one. The Jags losing to Tennessee.
Yeah.
The Patriots losing to Detroit. I mean, that was just last week was a nightmare for survivor pools.
Yeah. Peak 2018 was last week, week 3. All right. What's up, everybody? Dalvin Cook or Tevin Coleman? I'm very high on Tevin Coleman this week, so I'm very interested to hear you feel about this because I'm not low on Dalvin Cook other than the injuries. So what do you do here?
There's no Devonta Freeman. It's Tevin Coleman. It's Tevin Coleman all the way. He's healthy. I love this matchup against the Bengals. I mean, listen, the Bengals have a decent defense. There's no question about that. I'm looking at their rushing numbers allowed right now, and it's middle of the road. It's not the be all end all here.
For who?
For the Bengals, 4.4 yards per carry, giving up about 123 yards per game right now. I think that's a positive matchup for Tevin Coleman. They get him active in the passing game there. I am not worried about Ito Smith stealing, work from him. Ito will spell him every now and again, but this is Tevin Coleman's backfield here.
Right. Thanks for allowing me to send the email, Howard. That's Petey Stitz.
Oh yeah. What's up, Petey?
What up?
You gave me that tweet being like, dude, I got a question for you. It's more than 240 characters. Can I just send you, is there another way to contact you or you want the back and forth here? I'm like, here's my email, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah, then I can adequately answer this question. Yeah, good. We're so glad that you were able to send that off. Trade White for Ridley. I would need to know who your other running backs are.
Yeah, and well, give me your thoughts on Calvin Ridley here because, obviously he's the belle of the ball for everybody for everything that he did in last week's game. The DFS community went banana cakes over him, and all this week. That's it. It's like questions about Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. So how about, I've given my opinion on both of them ad nauseum. So how about you share some thoughts?
Well, here are my thoughts about this. I actually think that what everyone's ignoring here is that, frankly, my call on Matt Ryan in the preseason was really good. Guys, Matt Ryan is the real deal. He has 30 or more fantasy points over the last 2 weeks. He does have good weapons. He is using them. And even against the Eagles, again, if they would have had 2 of those calls go their way, we would have had a very different conversation after week 1 about the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think this offense is as bad as it was last year in general. So I'm hoping that all boats rise with the tide, okay? I do believe Calvin Ridley has leapfrogged Mohamed Sanu to be the number 2 on this particular team. But I still think Julio is number 1. The problem with Julio is that he only averaged 5 touchdowns per season over the last 5 years. The touchdown thing is not new. People acted like last year was an anomaly. He's not a touchdown guy. So there's a very distinct possibility here that we have a Juju versus Antonio Brown, not currently where Juju has more fantasy points, but where there can be 2 successful players here. Because I believe Matt Ryan is just as capable of supporting 2 wide receivers as Ben Roethlisberger. That said, there are not enough good running backs for you to be giving away the number 1 running back for the New England Patriots for a number 2 wide receiver unless you are stacked at running back. Because right now, like you were talking about here about Dalvin Cook, a lot of people have Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette on their fantasy teams, and they're just screwed, Or those of us that have Le'Veon Bell, and I'm screwed. Or if you have Devonta Freeman, if you're like me and you started off with Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Freeman, I'm sitting here thinking, how dare you give away a running back? How dare you, sir? So I just need to know who else you have because maybe I'm just jealous of you. Because honestly, I don't understand how, with the state of the running backs, that you're just A-okay giving one away. I think Ridley's fine. But I like to do more 2-for-1 or 2-for-2 kind of deals too, to kind of get better at a position that I'm needing it to. Hey guys, Wilson or Cousins? Thanks, guys. Absolutely. Answers are about RE. I'm assuming real estate. I do real estate too. Cool. Wilson or Cousins? Fascinating.
I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins. I'm perfectly fine using him. He's got great weapons. The secondary, again, for the Rams is banged up. Peters is going to be on the field, but he's not healthy. He's not 100%. Yeah. That should be an interesting situation to see how they match him up to sit and try and cover Diggs. He's not going to try and cover out of the slot to keep up with Adam Thielen. That's an impossibility. So I really like Cousins in this matchup here. Again, Russell Wilson, I'm not sold. And, my question about Russell Wilson and just the Seahawks in general is really what's their identity here? Like, there are no wide receivers. Don't talk to me about Tyler Lockett, and don't talk to me about
Tyler
Deron
Lockett.
Brown.
I totally agree with that.
You know, and you know,
touchdown every game.
And Doug Baldwin. This is a run-first team. It's always been a run-first team, and their lack of success in recent seasons has come with the offensive line struggles, but it's also come with the fact that they've refused to rely on their running game like they did before because they don't have a Marshawn Lynch there anymore, and they seem perfectly content to have Russell Wilson running for his life and hope that he makes something happen. Last week they didn't do that. 32 carries for Chris Carson. All of a sudden they put the Cowboys down. Like, I mean, boom. Like, really put the hammer to them. So the question is what do the Seahawks do? Does Pete Carroll say, oh, look, I went back to my old run first mentality and that worked, and so I'm going to try that again this week? Or does he try and have Russell Wilson run for his life and try and win it through the air? So for that reason there, lack of identity for this team and the success that they had running it yet last week, give me Kirk Cousins.
I don't mind Kirk Cousins. I think that this is a much worse matchup, though, than against the Cardinals. And I feel like we don't agree on Tyler Lockett. I think Tyler Lockett's real deal. In fact, I think you can still get him really cheap, so I would trade for him right now. I don't think there's any way that Chris Carson is going to continue getting 32 carries in the year of 2018. It just doesn't make any sense. It was just a weird game flow. He had 7 carries in the first game, 6 carries in the second. There's a happy medium here. And if he doesn't get that many carries, he actually isn't that productive in terms of yards per carry, his production. So we got a problem there. I think that the Chris Carson bounce back, I just don't trust anyone from Seattle as far as I can throw them, except for Tyler Lockett because he's so cheap. But now I'm okay with this.
And with your bad knee, you shouldn't be throwing anyone.
Shoulder, yes. I have horrible shoulder. Oh, my bad knee. I have bad knee too.
So it was a line from Ferris Bueller. Really? Just.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're like my husband. You're so good with the movie quotes, and I never know any of them.
Can I get a ruling on this, Edward? Was it a bad joke, or did Brandon just totally miss it?
I have a bad shoulder.
I believe it was the combination of both, Howard.
A little from column A and a little from column B. Yeah. All right, fine. Big shout out to Edward Rouse, our producer here on the live stream right now. Although you didn't side with me fully, so I'm a little disappointed in that. In any event,
yes. I just think it's hard to sit our man, Russell Wilson. It's hard. But can we trust Dalvin? My choices are Sony Michel and Kerryon Johnson. How do you feel about Kerryon Johnson and his breakout performance?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I'm hoping and praying that Matt Patricia turns to Jim Bob Cooter and says, look at that. It worked. We ran the ball. Kerryon Johnson, first guy since what? I think it was Thanksgiving 2013 was the last 70 games had gone by for the Lions between 100-yard performances. I feel like this is really what Matt Patricia wants. I think Jim Bob Cooter's more of like a run and gun type guy. I think that Patricia's going to win this argument. But again, like, how do you trust it? I mean, Kerryon Johnson, this week, can he do that against the Cowboys? Sony Michel, can he do that against Miami? Dalvin Cook, where's the health at? Juggle. I mean, I would probably say that I would start Kerryon Johnson. I would start Kerryon Johnson here. And just hope that Matt Patricia just goes.
I would not be surprised if Dalvin Cook did well, but I think I need to see it first just because he's been out. So that is, if you come back and say, but Dalvin Cook killed it, I'd be like, yeah, sure, we told you that was a possibility. This is about being secure in the now, and so I probably agree with you. I'm worried because up until last week, in the first 2 weeks, they were throwing on 76% of their snaps. They're still a pass first team. They're never going to be a run first team, but at least it would be nice if they could have like a higher floor for Kerryon Johnson.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying is that's what they've been before. Yeah, they haven't had any kind of an identity. That's why I'm wondering, Patricia coming in here, and yeah, he retained Jim Bob Cooter, which I thought was incredibly stupid because Patricia comes from like old school Erhardt Perkins power run game world is where he comes from, and that he left Jim Bob Cooter in there, who goes in a totally different direction there. But so I get what you're saying that that's what they were, and 76% of their play calling has been passes. But with what Kerryon Johnson did last week, does that turn things around a little bit? And, again, you can't predict it overnight here, but does that give you some pause where you say, well, maybe they do. Maybe they pull back to 65% passing, 35% run?
Yeah. I mean, they could pull back to 65 because that would still be high. But 76 is insane. Like, no one ends a season with a 76% pass rate. That would be insanity. 65 is still in the top 5 in terms of passing. There's still a pass first team. I think they have one good game from Kerryon Johnson, and I'm still not even convinced they're not going to still put in LeGarrette Blount every once in a while. I don't trust this team with running backs. And again, I mean, I just think that Patricia has his hands full with his defense, which is where he's been for the last gazillion years with the Patriots in terms of his like mentality. So I don't know if he's as involved with the offense as possible, but I'm glad they have him there. I am happy for him. But I'm not gonna get excited for Kerryon Johnson. I feel like the hype train went one way and then everyone pulled way back, and now we're back on the hype train, and there's no happy medium to be like, I think he is a low end RB2 rest of season.
Oh, I think he's
we're lucky.
I think he's a low end RB2 right now. I'm not going to say for the rest of the season because, again, you have to things change. We've only seen 3 games right now. We can't say that just in these first 3 weeks that we know exactly what these teams are going to be. There's definite development that we have to look and see what's going to happen. Like we saw the Saints do this. We saw the Saints were like pass happy, usual Saints for the first 3 weeks of the season. And then all of a sudden they were like, whoa. And then boom, like week 4, week 5, they boom, run first the entire time. So, I still think that there's a big feeling out process here. So I'm not saying that, it's like, let's overreact and say that Kerryon Johnson is suddenly an RB1. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you don't count him out yet. You can't just say that, well, this is what they did for the first 3 weeks of the season. For the first 3 weeks of the season, the Detroit Lions were garbage against the Jets. And then they beat the Patriots. They beat the snot out of the Patriots. So which Lions team are we looking at here? I think there's still a little bit of wiggle room.
I think there's wiggle room. I just also think every single piece is still there, including their offensive coordinator that was passed first. But and this is the question: like, would you rather have Kerryon Johnson on your team rest of the season or Kenny Golladay?
It depends on how my team is structured, Brandon. How about that?
And what I'm saying is, I think that it's more likely that Kenny Golladay keeps up this production than Kerryon Johnson. Because I've seen it consistent for 3 weeks now, as opposed to Kerryon Johnson, where I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad they got that cloud off the top of their heads. They finally have 100-yard rushing guys, so they feel good. So I'm glad for them. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you: would you be happy with a running back who averaged 65 yards and a touchdown? I mean, I don't want to say that he's going to score every game, but 65 yards and a touchdown. Would you be happy with that as an average running back in this day and age?
I feel like it's okay. But I don't – that's not like someone I'm excited about. I still play matchups on guys like that.
Who out there – how many running backs out there are we looking at who average better than that, though? Like Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, throw Melvin Gordon in there.
Yeah, like if you're asking me, like, would I rather have this guy or Jordan Howard? Or this guy or Tevin Coleman or Devontae Freeman when he comes back, or Dalvin Cook, or Leonard Fournette. Like, the problem is that a lot of these guys aren't playing right now. So it's kind of like, and also they're dropping like flies. Like, what's happening with Matt Breida? We got a lot of problems at running back. So you're right. I mean, at this point, I'd take Kerryon because I'd be like, at least someone's alive.
Would you take Kerryon?
No one's alive to play.
Would you take Kerryon Johnson over Kenyon Drake?
To me, that's exactly the even thing right there, where it'd be matchup by matchup.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Kenyon Drake's been a terrible disappointment. You kind of brought up a sore subject there, okay?
Are you all right? Are you all right? Do you need a hug? Somebody give Brandon a hug. Everybody out there watching this live stream, in the comments section, virtual hugs for Brandon, please. She needs some loving. Anytime you bring up
Drake mistakes.
Oh, Jim Bowden and I all on the show last week. Kenyon Drake, you got to get him in your lineups. Kenyon Drake, put him in your DFS lineups. Jim Bowden turned around and was like, Kenyon Drake, 200 yards and at least one touchdown.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Crazy.
I don't know if it was that crazy, but yeah. It's fine, you guys. Like, the thing is that Adam Gase hates me and everyone else. Dalvin Cook or Keelan Cole?
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I don't think I trust the Jaguars. I got so excited about last week, but the whole Leonard Fournette going in and out just kind of was like, PPR, Dalvin Cook or Chris Carson?
Well, here I'm going to go with Chris Carson and hope and pray that Pete Carroll runs him heavily here. Like, I think that it's a very positive matchup. Like, if you look at the matchup on paper, was it Seattle against Arizona? Arizona's giving up like ridiculous numbers here. Look at this. 131 yards per game, 5 rushing touchdowns. Come on. I'll take Chris Carson running against that.
Yeah. If Dalvin Cook were healthy though, I would go Dalvin Cook for sure. But
that's true.
A little bit all over the map here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
And I'm not saying Chris Carson over Dalvin Cook rest of season. I'm just talking about this week.
Oh. I would even say this week, if Dalvin Cook had a full week of practice and I felt good about him, I'd go Dalvin Cook. I just wanted to temper my expectations for Chris Carson, even in a good matchup, because we've seen good matchups with Chris Carson before too, where it didn't work out. And last week it did, so you never know. Guys, do you want 2 months free of Fantasy Alarm? I bet you do. I bet you want 2 months free. So all you need to do is deposit $10 at FanBall, but you're going to want to go to fantasyalarm.com/fanball. Again, that's fantasyalarm.com/fanball. And again, once you deposit $10, you get 2 months free of Fantasy Alarm. And by the way, we have tools to win on FanBall. So it all works out perfectly. So make sure to go there right now. Again, fantasyalarm.com/fanball. And you can do that while you still have a browser open to the show. So let's get it done. All right, Cousins or Fitzmagic? By the way, I loved that he stunk in the first half and then came back and still killed it. You go, Ryan Fitzpatrick. You go. Anyway, I'd go Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, against the Bears?
How about Kirk Cousins against the Rams? I mean, they're two tough defenses, and I just feel like, I don't know. But to me, they're very even, I guess.
I'm going to go with Cousins here.
You're going to go with Cousins?
I think, well, because I think that, listen, if we
can't do it 4 times in a row, right?
No, if we got any kind of an education, listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick is who he is. He's been in the league for over 10 years. We know exactly what he's all about. The fact that Tampa Bay's gotten off to this hot start, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm happy for him. Is it going to last? No. Why do I know that? Because history shows that Ryan Fitzpatrick does not play like this on a regular basis. Steelers defense sucks. Steelers defense blows. And I've heard this not just from fantasy analysts, but I've heard this from diehard Steelers fans who hate their secondary, who hate the linebacking core right now, who think that the Steelers are going to continue to give up and bleed 30 points a game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
I agree.
Fitzpatrick to do that, I mean, listen, I think he's going to run for his life. I think Khalil Mack is going to terrorize the front line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think that this is where we remember who Ryan Fitzpatrick is. He's first half Ryan Fitzpatrick from last week, And then we go into the bye week for Tampa Bay, and then week 6 they come out and they're like, oh yeah, I think we're gonna go with Jameis Winston. He's ready. Fitzpatrick will maybe have some sort of like a tight hammy or something like that just randomly cropped up.
I think it's going to be tough for Jameis Winston to get his job back regardless. I think they're kind of sick of his antics. I think this is beyond football, to be honest with you.
Oh,
I think
Winston?
they're really,
he's a piece of shit.
So, I mean, yeah. But again, you drafted him knowing that, so you do you. Golden Tate or Kenny Golladay. Sorry, it's true. I mean, let's just like not pretend. Facts are facts. Like it happened. Golden Tate or Kenny Golladay, who has the higher floor and who has the higher ceiling? I think Kenny Golladay for both, but I think they're both wide receiver must starts in pretty much any format. And Jones is a flex, right?
Yeah. Listen, I'll start them both there. I mean, I think Golden Tate still in a PPR format has the higher floor, just for the sheer volume that he continuously sees year in, year out. But I mean, Kenny Golladay, I had to eat a little crow on Kenny Golladay from the preseason because they are feeding him the targets there. Oh, yeah. And he's getting the work done. So I think I would start Kenny Golladay over Golden Tate, PPR or standard, based on what's going on right now. But I mean, if you're in a matchup where you think that it's PPR, that you need those extra targets and those extra points there, maybe Golden Tate.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Drafted really well because of your cheat sheet and made a couple trades and have a lot of running backs. Well, that's awesome, Christian. For week 5, I need a wide receiver because of buys. I need to either trade or drop one on my bench. I've got Peyton Barber, Shady McCoy, Sony Michel, Royce Freeman. So I'm guessing that he's asking who to get rid of. To me, I think you can get the most value and get a better wide receiver with Shady if he comes back this week, because he still has name credibility. I'm not quite sure the other 3 guys have enough name cachet to get anything done.
I think right now, if you traded Sony Michel, I think you get a good name wide receiver. I'll bet you. There is a lot of buzz going on. There's a lot of buzz going James White's way also, but there's a lot of buzz going Sony Michel's way now that Rex Burkhead's on injured reserve. And I mean, listen, here's a guy, the Patriots drafted him in the first round. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, no Rex Burkhead here. It's only Michel and James White. So I think you could probably find like a really good offer, just straight up wide receiver for a running back for Sony Michel. You might as well just take it right now while there's still buzz before, maybe he craps the bed this week.
Yeah, no, I like that too. That's good. Need 2 wide receivers, Gordon, Ridley, or Callaway. I don't think you can start Gordon right now.
No, I don't think you can either.
We're not quite sure he's going to play.
Yeah, or if he does, I hear that's like very limited snap count.
Yeah, because this playbook is legit. Like the New England playbook is nuts, and I don't know. I mean, yeah. Hugs from FA family. Thanks everybody for taking the hugs literally. I hurt you. I appreciate it. PPR, Gio or Cook? We already said Gio. Baldwin, safe to plug in right away this week. Not sure how much I trust Goodwin with the quarterback situation. Let's talk about that real quick. I think you do have to pull your 49ers if you have any other options. But Baldwin might be the one that I don't do that for. I'm not quite sure they're going to have Baldwin out there that often. Tyler Lockett has been killing it over the last 3 weeks. I think they're just going to continue that. And then, yeah, they're going to get Chris Carson involved here. And then 2 of the 3 weeks, they were also killing it with tight ends. So I think that I think I'd maybe keep Goodwin in there if it's Goodwin or Baldwin, but I am pulling a lot of my 49ers here, Howard. I'm very concerned. We got a CJ Beathard problem.
Listen, CJ Beathard, make no mistake, is not a very good quarterback. Still very young, very green. He wasn't awful last year when he subbed in. I mean, he's got the ability to run it in himself. He'll do that. He's got a rapport with George Kittle that actually dates back to college. They played together for a year in Iowa.
Yep.
he did have a nice rapport with Marquise Goodwin. He did not get a chance to play with Pierre Garçon at all. So that's going to be a foreign issue there. So, you know, yeah, I'm hesitant to play a lot of 49ers here. It's so funny. John and Pemba and I had a whole discussion on yesterday's live stream talking about C.J. Beathard as a dumpster dive for DFS because he's only $4,600 on DraftKings, and the ability to run it in and the rapport with Kittle, and he's played with Marquise Goodwin, and you know the Chargers. No offense, Edward, but the Chargers defense looks like cockapoo right now. Even their secondary looks weak.
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks really bad. I completely agree with you, although I do think it's very demoralizing for them, and I don't think this is going to be a great game for the 49ers. So, but Goodwin, I think, has more rapport there. Yeah, I would do that. Felix is asking, Breida or Gio, non-PPR?
Brio or Gio? I'm going to go Gio here. I like Breida, but again, you have to be careful about what's going to happen with the 49ers and just the change in personnel.
Yeah. Tough one in a PPR. I need two. T.Y. Hilton, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, or Robert Woods. I stick with the faithful T.Y. Hilton and Robert Woods here. What do you think?
T.Y. Hilton, Woods, Tyler Boyd, and Ridley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's two hyped up dudes there, but like
they're so hyped. I love Tyler Boyd, and I actually think the world of Tyler Boyd. I really do. But yeah, I think you have to kind of just go with the old standbys, especially with Robert Woods tonight. I think that a lot of people are scared of the Vikings defense and what they're going to do after getting embarrassed last week. But, Xavier, you got Trey Wayans on one side, Xavier Rhodes on the other. Xavier Rhodes will probably be working off of Brandon Cooks a lot more. And Trey Wayans has struggled in coverage when the receiver spends a lot of time going across the middle. And that happens to be Robert Woods' strong suit there. So I actually like this move for Robert Woods in this one here. T.Y. Hilton, I mean, he's all Andrew Luck has. He's all he's got. So might as well just ride him like a pony.
I love to do that. All right. So Luck or Fitzmagic?
Luck or Fitzmagic? I mean, I'll go Fitzmagic on this one because I just don't believe in Andrew Luck. I don't. People are laughing at me because I was like, commenting on the Jacoby Brissett situation there. And the bottom line is that he's not a trustworthy quarterback. He doesn't throw the ball over 20 yards. Are the Colts going to dink and dunk the entire time? What happens when defenses take that away? Like, to me, I just don't trust Andrew Luck. And I mean, I don't like putting my trust into Fitzpatrick this week against Chicago, but man, I'm so off that Andrew Luck train.
Taking him out so that they could do a Hail Mary was such an indictment. I don't understand how you can interpret that any other way. I agree here. Stack with Rivers and Mike Williams, a yay or a nay? This is Michael Hunter, who likes to start his Sunday mornings with us. Thank you.
Rivers and Williams. I love Williams and Rivers. Yeah.
Guys, Williams is legit.
San Francisco's secondary blows too.
Yeah, double-digit fantasy points in each of his first 3 games this season. It's really happening, people, because there are no tight ends. Streaming defenses. Who's a good one this week? Lions, Bengals, Steelers.
Packers. How about the Pack?
Yeah, against the Bills. Yeah.
Right? I love that one. I love that matchup there. Let's see.
Who do I like?
Defenses to stream here. I mean, listen, you could stream the frickin' Lions against Dallas. I hate Dallas so much.
Good.
I think you could stream the Jets against the Jags. I think that's definitely a possibility there. A lot of buzz on the Titans, like against the Eagles, and I'm weirded out by that because there's nothing that I like about the Titans. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, no, I ignore these things because that's just like people trying to get heard. And then they hear something, they're like, oh, I should repeat it because I'm sure someone researched that. whatever. You know who's really good this year? Browns defense. They're playing the Raiders. So they're scoring a ton of fantasy points. They have the most fumble recoveries in the National Football League. They have 6. The second most is 4. That's nuts. So they're playing really good football right now, scoring a lot of fantasy points. I do like them against the Raiders, who have yet to score over 20 points in a game so far this season. So definitely go and check that out. Yeah. Someone did point out to me that poor CJ Beathard's name is spelled Beathard, and it really does always pop up, and someone just made the joke. And it's true, but I'm going to try to be.
And that's what I'm going to do when I beat him with you. How about that? I beat you with him? Yeah, there it is.
All right, so we got like 60 questions here, so I'm going to try to like jam through this last little thing here. But before I do that, I do want to give a shout out to one more group here. We have WinView, and I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's like a really fun predictive game that you play for 1 quarter while you watch the game. And tonight we have a big contest for the Vikings at Rams, so make sure to check it out. And for your playbook winning, just go to fantasyalarm.com/WinView, and you can download the app and like get in the game too. You can also go to fantasyalarm.com/WV games. It's really, really fun. So go check it out. All right. So here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Running back PPR for the RB2. We have Alfred Morris, Nyheim Hines, or Derrick Henry. Yeah, not the best. Get Ingram back next week. I don't like Ingram next week, but I think you go Alfred Morris here.
I mean, I guess you kind of have to. That's the lesser of 3 evils. None of them are good.
No, and Derrick Henry it's a tough matchup against the Eagles. I don't really enjoy having running backs going up against the Eagles. And Nyheim Hines, maybe he's a close one for me. But he just that committee really is not fun. Tevin Coleman or Giovanni Bernard? I think I go Coleman. Both are good matchups.
Yeah. No, I go Coleman over Gio. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Like the offense better. Would y'all start the Rams D or the Titans?
Well, there you go. There's that infamous Tennessee Titans. What? I don't understand the buzz there. Are we that disappointed in Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz and that whole team there? Are we really that bummed out about them? Come on. I'll go. I mean, I'll just go with the Rams here. It's not great, but I'll take the Rams front 7 over the entire Titans defense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Rams, you got Aaron Darnold there, so they can always do something crazy. And again, I'm not going to freak out about Kirk Cousins, but I also don't think Kirk Cousins has been exponentially better than what they had with Case Keenum, and I'm not loving it. Let's put it that way. You like that? No. Not really. Marvin Jones or Deshaun Jackson?
Marvin Jones or Deshaun Jackson? You know, here's a funny thing, and I think we got a real good wake-up call with this one last week. Deshaun Jackson coming out of the slot, not so great anymore. Like, Godwin on the outside, Evans on the outside. Not so
Godwin
great.
Godwin was terrible last week. Godwin's why they lost that game. Chris Godwin was terrible last week.
A couple of drops.
He's why. The fumble, the drops of the touchdowns, he's why they lost that game. Godwin was downright terrible. And if Deshaun Jackson hadn't had that big play called back on a penalty that was not his own, he would have also killed it. I don't know. I mean,
so you're going Djax here. Okay.
No, I'm probably still going Jones for safety here against the Cowboys, who I think are going to be shown that they're technically a tough matchup against wide receivers, but they're not really. They've had like a very easy schedule for their defense against wide receivers in the first 3 games. It was like the Panthers, the Giants, and the Seahawks, right? All teams that don't really pass. I mean, the Giants kind of passed, but and that was an Eric Flowers game and all this other stuff. But the point is, I would probably go Jones here, but I think Deshaun Jackson, man, if I was a coach for the Tampa Bay Bucks, I'd be so ticked at Chris Godwin. I think there's a possibility he gets kind of reprimanded, to be entirely frank. 12-team, 1-point PPR, Corey Davis or Kenny Stills for my flex.
Oh, I gotta go Kenny Stills there. I can't go any way with Corey Davis. Although I did say Tajay Sharp for a deep dumpster dive in DFS this week,
I like that.
based on that matchup, and the fact that they released our boy Rashard Matthews.
Got to get more into that story. That was crazy.
Well, I mean, that was, again, everybody, like, Vontae Davis has set the tone now. It's like, if you're not happy about what your team is doing, just walk out. Just walk out. Say, screw your contract. You're done. Like, that's what we're hearing right now. And we're seeing this from a number of veterans. Alan Hearns is pissing and moaning about not getting the targets in Dallas. Like, he's already, on that train as well. So, yeah, I mean, but, as far as that matchup goes, Corey Davis is not a guy I'm digging on.
Here's my only problem with Kenny Stills. By the way, it's hard to dig on Corey Davis when we don't know what the quarterback situation is there. What a disaster. Complete disaster in Tennessee. My only problem with Kenny Stills is that Bill Belichick likes to take away the number one productive player on that offense. Is that Kenny Stills?
No, we all know it's Jakeem Grant and Albert Wilson. Come on.
Right. But that's my point. I kind of like Albert Wilson and Jakeem Grant this week because I think it might be Kenny Stills. Some people think it's Kenyon Drake, but if you watched Kenyon Drake, you're like, nah, brah.
How could you possibly watch Kenyon Drake? Adam Gase doesn't run him.
I know. So true. It's so I think that's the only problem I have with Kenny Stills here. So I could see Corey Davis happening, but I don't know how you trust anyone on the Titans. So I almost hope you have another option. Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield?
Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield? Well, I got to go Case Keenum here against the trashy Chiefs secondary. I mean, Eric Berry's going to be out again. I'm sorry. Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, give me Cortland Sutton.
This
That's
whole
another
thing
one.
is about dumpster diving. I love it.
That's another dumpster dive for me. I'm telling you. Are you kidding? I've got lineups here with everybody's like 5K or under on DK. I've got Tajay Sharp. I've got Sterling Shepard. I've got Tyler Boyd in there. And now, yes, another one right there.
Trashy. Cousins or Stafford?
I'll probably go with Stafford here.
Yeah. Winston worth an ad. Depends on how desperate you are. Problem with Winston is that he wasn't doing all that great to begin with when he was here all the time. He did do well towards the end of last season, but he's not good enough for me. I don't know. If you're in a one quarterback league, you don't need him. If you're obviously in a two quarterback league, he should already be owned. But I don't know. I don't think we have much to say about him yet. Baker Mayfield or Tom Brady rest of season? Just kidding. I'm not kidding. Baker Mayfield has a running quarterback floor that is actually like worth having conversations about him being someone that you want to trade for. Like if you had Tom Brady and you picked up Baker Mayfield, you could trade away Tom Brady, and I think that would be a smart choice. I'm not saying Tom Brady's not going to bounce back a little bit, but I also think that Baker Mayfield as like a high floor option is not crazy. I know you think I'm crazy.
Feel your forehead here a little bit.
You guys, Tyrod Taylor just got beat out, but Tyrod Taylor is the perfect example of that high floor quarterback in seasons past. And now that's going to be Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield has accuracy. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks to come out of college football in history. I don't think this is, I mean, okay, maybe this is my Kenny Golladay and I'm just freaking out or taking it too far. Maybe this is my Kerryon Johnson. Maybe.
Where is the Brandon that I know who coined the phrase, the Browns are gonna brown?
Absolutely,
like
but Baker Mayfield's my favorite guy.
He apparently is your favorite guy. My apologies to your darling husband. I love and adore him, but I don't know how he's going to compete with all this Baker Mayfield nonsense now.
He knows he's on notice, that's for sure.
Are you wearing a Browns jersey underneath that blouse? Come on now.
Yeah. that's for later. Browns jersey. Just call me Gypsy Rose Lee for the Browns. Okay.
You really are. You really are. I love it. I love it. You know what, though? I do. I absolutely love it. I like hearing you take the stand on Baker Mayfield. Power to you there. Listen, if you're right, we can all just suck it. If you're wrong, well, I'm going to make fun of you.
All I'm saying is you should never spend up on quarterbacks. This year has proven that time and time again, and that was my problem with Tom Brady all preseason. And obviously they're going to win games. I'm not saying that the Patriots aren't going to win games. They just don't need Tom Brady to put up 30 fantasy points for them to do it, so they won't. That's all I'm saying. But the Browns do need Baker Mayfield to put up 30 fantasy points to win a game because they're the Browns. So without that, they can't win anything. So that's the difference there, in my opinion. Would you trade Quincy Enunwa and Royce Freeman for Sony Michel in a 12-man full-point PPR redraft?
Wait, would I trade Quincy Enunwa straight
and
up?
Royce Freeman.
No, for
Sony Michel.
No,
Not in a 12-man, dude. You don't have enough people. Oh,
What's wrong with like PPR guy Quincy Enunwa and Royce Freeman and Sony Michel? They're like the same guy at this point right now. Real.
I agree. Do I play Lindsey this week in full point PPR?
Ooh, lights out Lindsey. It depends on who he's going up against, who your other options are.
What a weird ejection. They say he was punching people, but he was more like just air batting. It was very weird.
He was digging in. He was like. It was like Nolan Ryan getting Robin Ventura in a headlock. Just.
I have no idea what he was doing. I still think. I will say this: Royce Freeman has a touchdown in each of his last 2 games. So let's put that on there. Diggs, Sanders, Connor. Pick 2, please.
Diggs, Sanders, and Connor. Ooh, I mean that's actually good. Pretty cool. That's a good problem to have. I mean, how do you sit James Conner? I mean, he hasn't been phenomenal the last couple of games. I won't deny that. But
well, he hasn't been able to be because they've been behind because their defense is garbage.
So what do you think? You think you go with the receivers here? I mean, Diggs and Sanders, they're both positive matchups. Well, Diggs might see a little bit of Marcus Peters, so that might be a little bit tougher there. Would you go Sanders Connor or Sanders Diggs?
I would go Sanders Diggs if it's PPR, Sanders Connor if it's not. It doesn't say. Full point PPR, need one between Enunwa, Keelan Cole, and Kerryon Johnson.
Enunwa, Keelan Cole, or Kerryon Johnson. Well, it's definitely not Enunwa going up against the Jags. And you know what? I don't really like the Jags receivers going up against the Jets corners. So Kerryon Johnson, it is. Hey, by the way, tomorrow on the Fantasy Alarm Show with me and Jim Bowden, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll be interviewing Quincy Enunwa. So join us for some Jets talk. Ho, ho,
ho. Pick 2, Cook, Kerryon, Carson, and Michelle.
Cook, Kerryon, Carson, and Michelle. Huh. Well, so Carson definitely. Carson's in there.
Okay.
Cook, Kerryon. I feel like I mean, that's a tough one.
I say if you feel like you need to kind of swing for the fences, I think you go Carson and Michelle. I think Cook is the one that's out here. Kerryon, I just don't know if they will use him in the same way against the Cowboys. I think they're going to pass a little bit. I don't know. I'd probably say Carson and Michelle. Kerryon's close.
And Michelle.
Close. Dropped and ask us again on Sunday. This is a question that actually could be affected by practice reports and what have you. And yeah. Dropped lug for Mayfield, right move?
I can't get behind just dropping him outright yet. I mean, you know, I'm not a Luck fan, but I mean, you know, see, that's the thing is that you got to find, instead of dropping some of these big names, why can't you try and find like a trade partner? Take 60 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar for Andrew Luck if you have to. But, you know, I mean, just dropping guys outright who, you know, should have value. I'm not into that. Like, even if it's a 10-team league, go shop them around and just be willing to accept less because you're obviously already considering dropping them outright for Baker Mayfield. So if you're already considering that, go get like a wide receiver 3, you know, in exchange for Luck, and then just go make the pickup and drop somebody else.
Yeah, no, I agree. Cup or Callaway? I go Cup.
Cup, definitely.
Drafted and have held Le'Veon. This is the problem. Le'Veon Bell, we're just all screwed. We've just made a huge mistake. I know you're going to ask for advice here, but we have nothing nice to say other than Le'Veon. Okay. I have Connor, Mixon, Cook, and Carson trade Le'Veon if I can.
Yes. There's somebody out there in your league who believes that Le'Veon Bell is going to get traded and come back and be amazing. Now, could that happen? Yes. But the thing about it is, and what you need to start exploiting is the stupidity of the masses in fantasy football. Like, I'm not saying this to be degrading or anything like that to people, but people are very reactionary. People are you want to talk about homerism, it's insane. But people sit there and they're like, you could take a crap on a plate and hand it to them and say that eating this is the key to winning your fantasy football league. And they're like they're chowing down on it. So nobody's buying low for Lev Bell. Like, I'm getting all of these messages from people being like, yeah, should I trade?
I'm getting bad trade offers for Bell. People are coming in with,
you're coming at it in an industry league though.
Yeah. But they're coming at me with like Adrian Peterson and garbage. And I'm
right.
Like,
and I've got Joe Everyman messaging me being like, should I trade Dalvin Cook and Kenny Golladay for Lev Bell? I mean, if you've got some knucklehead in your league who's willing to give you healthy, productive bodies for right now, stop waiting on Lev Bell and get your ass into a much better team today.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys. We have 2 minutes. I'm going to try to do this quickly. Goff or Cousins?
Ooh. I'll say Cousins.
Drop Kittle for Njoku, right move?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Goff or Red Rifle?
It's the Red Rocket, dog's penis. But yeah, I'll go with him.
Sit one: Juju, Adams, Cooks, or Sanders?
I'm actually going to sit Cooks here.
I agree, 110%. Full point PPR, I need one: Fitzgerald, Collins, Demaryius Thomas, or LaShawn McCoy. Shoot me now.
DT, baby. I want Demaryius Thomas.
I agree. Dalvin Cook or Dion Lewis?
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Dion Lewis. Scary. Shepard over
Scabby?
Boyd. Scary.
Oh, scary. I thought you said Scabby. I was like, is he? Ugh.
Scabby. Shepard over Boyd in non-PPR.
Ooh, yes, yeah.
This week.
Oh, against the Saints? Absolutely.
Ingram? Dang. Cooks or Alex Collins or James White?
If you got to swing for the fences, James White. If you're just looking for stability, I think I would kind of go with Cooks here almost. I can't, Adam Gase to the Drake is what John Harbaugh is to Alex Collins. I just feel like Harbaugh's trolling fantasy owners right now. Yeah,
I agree with you. I want to murder any mention of Collins in my life right now. Davis's target share is over 30%, and Mariota is getting healthier. Won't materialize eventually? ? Yeah, I think it will. But we just need to see Mariota healthy. Him coming in after Blaine Gabbert gets kicked out, it's not good for me. Cooks tonight or fade? Oh yeah, we always talked about this one already. Stills or Geronimo? Guys, Geronimo's killing it.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, you can't jump off the Geronimo train yet until Aaron Rodgers is in the grave. I'm gonna keep with the Geronimo here. Winston's a punk. Who doesn't agree with that? Dalvin Cook or Aaron Jones, PPR? I go Cook here too, I think.
Cook, 100%. 100%.
Scary, guys. Aaron Jones, yowza. I'm in a one-quarterback league. I picked up Winston to sub for Stafford during a bye week versus Atlanta. I don't know what the question is here, but, I mean, best of luck to you.
This isn't a support group.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got offered Le'Veon Bell and Dion Lewis for Jordan Howard and Smokey Brown, 12-team PPR. What do you think?
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in picking up Lev Bell. I'm really not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not. And it just, again, and if I'm a James Conner owner, I'm still trying to shop that dude heavily as well. I just don't know the situation here, and nor do I want to put any trust into it. If Lev Bell comes back and he comes back to the Steelers, then James Conner's value goes to crap. If Lev Bell doesn't come back, well, why you're wasting a roster spot for like 6 weeks to find that news out.
Disaster. Well, we're going to end the show on the tight end whisperer question here. We got streaming tight ends: Vance McDonald, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, or the Ravens' Mark Andrews.
Ooh, I really like Mark Andrews, but only as like a dumpster dive in like a DFS lineup here. How do you not go with Vance McDonald after watching that stiff arm on poor Chris Conte? Like Chris Conte, boom, on the IR after that happened. I mean, he was dealing with an injury with his PCL beforehand, but then, I mean, boom. I want to be able to walk through. I want to walk through whatever, my town here. I want to go to New York City, whatever it is. I want to run the streets like Vance McDonald running down the sidelines there. And every like stupid tourist in my way, I just want to like shove their face down and do that. So I'm all in on Vance McDonald.
I agree. But I do like Mark Andrews rest of season. Very surprisingly secure fantasy option for those of you that lost a tight end, which seems to be at least half of us at this point.
But isn't Hunter Hurst coming back soon? Couple of weeks?
Yeah, Hayden Hurst is coming back.
Hurst.
But Hayden Hurst has always been a better blocker. There was always a debate as to whether for fantasy purposes it would actually be Mark Andrews who's better than Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst also did well receiving in preseason, and I don't want to say that he's a no-go, but I think there's a possibility that Mark Andrews maintains this role. I think also Dallas Goedert, as long as Alshon is not playing, although Alshon was approved for contact, I think there's a possibility that guy continues to be a little more involved than we think as well. These rookie tight ends, they're surprising us a little. It's kind of fun. So thank you so much to everybody. We really appreciate it. It's 8:04. Go get your lineups in. I personally need to do a lot of scrambling here. Howard is always amazing and always has it together. But we want you to have it together too. So make sure you can go to the chat at fantasyalarm.com. People are answering questions. Go there right now. Guys, it starts at 8:20. It's amazing. Be here again on Sunday at 11 a.m. We take you through all of your questions. Loving it. Anything else to say, Howard?
Best of luck to you. Enjoy the game tonight, and may all your fantasy players score touchdowns this week.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Good night.